have to be constantly doing actions that are leading to long-term growth. Hey, what is going on, everyone? Laura's here again, founder of Carrier Intelligence. We help trucking companies recruit and retain better drivers using disruptive methods, all right? Today, I want to talk to you about a concept that I think is phenomenal and will probably hit home with a lot of you. And that is, there is no harvest without water. And what that means when it comes to your recruiting practices. So if you think about that concept, there is no harvest without water. What does that mean, and how do you apply that into your daily, weekly, monthly recruiting practices? Quite simply is, you have to water day after day after day to reap the rewards of the harvest in the future. You've got to keep the pipeline full. Another way of thinking about it, right? So you have to be constantly doing actions that are leading to long-term growth. Now, we work with a lot of trucking companies across different regions in America, different size fleets, different modes of transportation. We see oftentimes if we go out and we generate leads for companies, that can be the problem. It could be that they don't have enough leads coming in. But we go out and let's say we generate another few hundred leads a month for companies. Well, just because they get those leads, it doesn't necessarily translate into instant hires. And we see the next bottleneck start to occur with the recruiting practices. It doesn't matter how many leads you get or how great the leads are. If your recruiting staff is not doing the actions daily that are conducive to growth, then it's all for nothing. And that gets us back to the point of the daily watering to get that harvest later. And so I want to go over some best practices that we've seen work time after time after time. They're tried and true across all carriers, all modes of transportation, across North America. And I would argue that recruiting is sales. It is 100% sales. Think about sales, it's taking somebody from their current situation to a desired situation. And that process in between that is a sales process. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're trying to help somebody buy a house, they're not currently in a house, they want in a house, you're a mortgage guy, you're trying to get them into a house, that's a sale, okay? That's a sales process. If you are a trucking company, there's a driver out there that's misaligned at the wrong company, you want to align them at your company, well, your recruiters are doing this sales process. And that's why recruiting is sales, okay? So now that we've defined that recruiting and sales are interchangeable, we can look at, well, what makes somebody a successful salesperson? And I would argue with 100% certainty that the most important thing in sales is follow-up. It's going to be very rare in any industry, in any sales process, to call a prospect, to get them to take the desired action, and to get to the desired outcome in one fluid path. Oftentimes, it takes multiple, dozens of attempts to get somebody to finally say yes. And when we can start to think about it in that mindset, when we're going out daily talking to drivers, it probably becomes a lot more apparent why maybe a company is not hitting their hiring goals. You know what I mean? So if right now you are getting leads, could be through anything, Craigslist, Indeed, social media, referrals, whatever it is, you're getting driver leads in somehow. The recruiters are calling the leads once, twice, hit voicemail, they send a text message, and bad lead, didn't answer, or talked to him for a minute, he hung up, and disqualifying him. That's a recipe for disaster. You have to realize that it takes on average 5 to 7 times of seeing something, of talking to somebody before they're warmed up enough to take the next actions. So you have to bake it into your sales protocol and your recruiting protocol of having a minimum 7-time touch system. So let's say, for example, a lead comes in the morning, 10 a.m. lead comes in. Well, first thing you want to do is make sure that lead is called ASAP. If that is a good driver, there's a good chance that good driver is already working somewhere. We know that good drivers are not looking for jobs. They don't have time for that. So if a good driver applies for your company, you need to reach out to them quickly because good drivers are out on the road working, not a whole lot of free time. If you wait 30 minutes to call, there's a good chance he's not going to answer because he's probably already out back on the road, and they probably shouldn't be answering the phone a whole lot when they're out on the road. So you got to call ASAP. First thing you want to do is lead comes in, call instantly. If they don't answer, that's not a red flag. I don't answer phone calls all the time when it's an unknown caller. Why would a driver do any different? So I would call once, they don't answer, call back instantly again. There's a good chance they'll pick up that second ring. If not, leave a voicemail. Whether they check it or not, it's not important. The fact is they could, and it is so little work to leave a 15-second voicemail and has the huge potential of turning into a best driver you've ever had in your company. You don't know unless you try. So that's that. So we've called twice, left a voicemail. Next thing you want to do is send a text message. All of this happens within minutes. This is so simple. You call twice, leave a voicemail, someone talk to them, send them a quick text message. Ideally, that text text message should not just be a copy-paste script you send out to everybody. Thank you so much for applying at ABC Trucking. We'd love to talk to you. Please click this link to fill out an application. While that can work, I see right through it. A driver would see right through it. It looks like you don't care. At a minimum, you need to insert the driver's name. Hey John, thank you so much for applying at ABC Trucking. We just tried to reach out to you a couple times, left you a voicemail. Would love to talk to you. If you have a minute right now, here's a link to our full application. Otherwise, when is a great time to talk to you? Today or tomorrow. That is a lot better, a lot more customized. You want to take it a step further? We've seen this work very, very well. It's something we've recommended. We've seen carriers have mass success with this alone. Is typically your recruiting force is going to have their cell phones. Oftentimes they'll recruit from their cell phones, right? Well, have them create a video. Now this one I think you could use more of a copy-paste template. You still have a unique text message you send, like I said earlier, but in addition to that, you send a quick little 15, 30-second video directly by text message. That video would be your recruiter talking to the cell phone, introducing themselves, talking a little bit about your company, the position, and asking them when's a good time to talk. That one can be a little vaguer. You can say, hey, what's going on? It's Loris over at ABC Trucking. We just saw your information come through. We would love to talk to you. Here's a little bit about our company. We do X, Y, and Z. What can we do to set up a time to talk to you this week? You send a video like that, that is definitely something you could send to every potential driver that comes through. It looks unique enough that a good chance the driver's gonna actually watch it. They're not gonna see through it and think of it as a copy-paste message, and it's something different. Some of the best ideas we've seen happen are when people think outside the box, and this is an out-of-the-box idea that, again, is very, very simple. It's gonna separate you from your competition, make you look unique out in the marketplace when drivers are weighing in on different companies to potentially relocate to. Just to recap, we did 2 phone calls, left a voicemail, sent a text message, and what we would do now is we would wait a few hours. Let's say it happened in the morning, do it again in the afternoon. Don't need to send the video again in the afternoon. By all means, go for it if you like. But by that point, you've already hit that individual with at least 5 touch points day 1. Go out and do the same thing for a week. That's gonna be a lot of potential touch points. If at that point they still have ghosted you or non-responsive, put them into a long-term drip sequence via SMS text message nurturing, sending them to different unique videos you put together on YouTube, for example, and giving them the opportunity to see kind of behind the curtains of what your company actually looks like, and then give them the app link to your full app, right? Do that on a weekly basis. In my mind, there's really 2 outcomes. Either somebody's gonna say, screw off, I'm not interested, or the second thing is they're not gonna say anything. If they don't say anything, that means they're still interested. It's just now is not the right time. And a key thing that carriers need to understand is you always need to be in front of these drivers, and you need to be in front of them at the right time. It could be that, hey, they applied with you a couple days ago, they were ticked off at their dispatcher, but turns out dispatcher apologized, they're having a bad day, whatever, so the driver is kind of back on board working with their current company. But in the back of their mind, they still almost applied, and they still have that thought embedded in them. So a few weeks from now, a few months from now, something happens again, that straw that finally breaks the camel's back occurs, and guess what? You hit them with a text message that same day talking about what it is makes your company unique on a YouTube video. There's a good chance they're gonna apply and convert into a full application. All right, so that is what you wanna be doing when it comes to recruiting drivers. Train your recruiters, help them understand how recruiting really is a sales process, and these drivers are the lifeline of your company. Trucking companies do not exist without a driver in the seat. Every lead needs to be worked like it is a potential best driver you've ever had. Everybody has a couple of those drivers out there. They know those drivers that are never gonna leave. I'm telling you, you guys are probably getting leads like that right now that you're not giving the opportunity to have them aboard to prove themselves. You need to work these leads harder. Good things take time. They don't come easy, all right? So hopefully that was helpful. Catch you on the next one.